The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
This is Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. Do you want to live a more fulfilling life? Do you want to live your legacy and achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals? Well, coming up on Divya Parekh's Beyond Confidence, you will hear real stories of leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers who have stepped into discomfort, shattered their status quo, and are living the life they want. You will learn how relationships are the key to achieving your aspirations and financial goals. Moving your career or business forward does not have to happen at the expense of your personal or family life, or vice versa. Learn more at www.divyaparekh.com, and you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. This is Beyond Confidence, and now here's your host, Divya Parekh.
Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, and I'm delighted to be here with you. I want to thank each and every one of you who have got our books, especially Expert to Influencer and the Entrepreneur's Garden, because they will help you live the lifestyle you want. Not only that, it will position you as an influencer for meaningful impact, because it's all about creating impact. It's not about the number of followers you have. It's the quality of followers you have. It's about the impact you're creating and what values are charting and mapping your life. So thank you to everyone, because partial profits from our book sales go to kiva.org, where we are helping entrepreneurs all across the globe. And I highly encourage you and invite you to spend 1 hour of your time every month helping someone with no strings attached. And let's keep this cycle of kindness going. Let's invite our guest in today. We have a special guest. Welcome, Howard.
Well, thank you so much. Good morning, Divya. It's so good to see you again.
Oh, good to see you. So Howard, tell us if you recall any moment from your childhood that still stands out for you even today.
I remember, I think I was in high school, and I remember I was in a class and a teacher said, "You're never going to be a doctor." Okay. And the reason that stood out, and I will always remember it, because our parents, our mentors, people we look up to. Now, I may not have looked up to this teacher, and I may have known I was never going to be a doctor. But what's important is the words we use to others. Maybe in that moment, we don't appreciate it, but we can be affected by it for the rest of our lives. And I think my whole life, in things that I have done or not done, or patterns that I have repeated, have all come back to, what did I say? What could I have done differently? How did I affect others through my words? And I think it's important. We need to understand what we say, when we say it, how we say it, and potentially the damage we can do. And I believe that we can fix it. Okay, it's not to say it's going to be with us for the rest of our lives, and we can fix it and we can do great things. But the words we choose to use, especially for people who need support, need coaching, need mentoring, need a helping hand. And I love the fact that you're asking your followers to, put a day aside, an hour aside, once a month, whatever that is, to support others with no strings attached. And I think the words we use in some ways should be delivered with no strings attached. We should be always looking to nurture people.
So powerful. And you're absolutely right. Words have power. And if I recall correctly, there's even a saying that says that word is mightier than a sword. So we don't know how people are going to perceive, and especially when somebody looks up to you, especially if you're in that role of being a parent or being a mentor or being an older sibling or even being a peer or a colleague. You never know how it will impact, how your message will land.
Sure.
And it is so important. And what you shared is so profound that it's important, because you can heal, but it can leave a scar. So make an effort to be mindful. And of course, we all are human beings. And if mistakes happen, it's all right. And when that happens, it's okay to apologize, because apologizing goes a long way in healing hearts and mending those hearts. So as you grew up, where did your interest take you?
Oh my God. They took me from, I feel like I was throwing darts on a map and, okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. My first job, so to speak, as a young child, I mean, I was cutting lawns. I was working at a grill around the block from me. That's where I learned to cook. And that's actually where I discovered that I really love cooking. And it's funny, Debbie, I worked for a gentleman, Nicholas Lekis. He was Greek. He taught me how to make spanakopita, cheese and spinach pie. Now, I'm not going to share my age with you, but I've been around for a little while. But I have been making this dish for, let's just say, many, many years, and I'm really good at it. And I always joke with people, I'm not afraid of phyllo. I did magic. I was a photographer's assistant. That was another significant event, because I then became a professional photographer for a while. That's how I paid my way through school. And my interest in photography has continued to this very day. I think going to school, not really realizing what I wanted to do or be when I grew up, had an impact. It probably was not until my life in the IT world as an IT consultant, and I know you have a technology background as well, and I've been in that space working, that it wasn't until I was absolutely fed up with the industry and its effect on me, my physical, mental, emotional well-being, that I realized I needed to do something different. And that's actually how I landed into the coaching world, leadership, because of my interest in leadership development, repeating, the patterns I was repeating, especially on projects. They'd start off great, and then they would nosedive and crash. And now I know I wasn't ultimately responsible for those projects, but I had a role because I was there. And I was really curious about the impact I was having, not only for myself, but also the impact on my teammates. And I think I was I like to share it, the most beautiful place in the world. It was Victoria, British Columbia. So if you've ever been to Victoria, it's pretty darn beautiful up there. And I was just absolutely miserable. And I eventually asked myself, how could I be in the most beautiful place in the world and be so utterly miserable? And beginning to ask that question, I then literally resigned from the company I was working for, went back to a prior company doing very similar technology work as a consultant. But I then began to explore what was going to be next for me. How can I live a life that I was passionate about? How could I wake up every day feeling like I was making a difference in people's lives? And through the power of LinkedIn, I know we'll probably chat a little bit about that. One of my managers at the time said, "Hey, we're looking for a business analyst." And I said, "How about an ex-business analyst named Howard Fox?" And that literally brought me back to a company I had left. And I was fortunate they paid a good deal of my graduate education. My graduate's education included an accredited coach training program, where it was just a phenomenal experience as a 40-something, deciding to go back to school and getting a master's degree and really making a 180-degree pivot in what I do. My coaching, my consulting background does inform a lot of what I do. However, I am a coach, professional development, career development. I have conversations that are exciting because it's great, as you well know, to help your clients discover really the power within them.
Right.
But it's,
So,
yeah.
So when you talked about LinkedIn,
Yeah.
we probably, a lot of people, especially the younger generation, have been born into social media.
Right.
For them, that web and using different social media platforms and CRM systems and all this technology is very much part of their lives.
Right.
But we have seen where we have said when AOL was one of the first ones, like when you would dial into your email, you'd see it going in circles and taking time.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn has been around for a while. So when did you decide to dive into LinkedIn?
That's a very good question. And so LinkedIn, I think right now, if I were to Google it, they have 850 million members across the world. And there's maybe 250 members here in the US, 200 countries or so, multiple languages. It began as a tool because IT folks always knew the latest and greatest. What's the newest, the hot application? And that was back in around 2006 for the company I went back to, because we would all connect with each other. But we would connect. It was like the new business card. And I don't think I really appreciated LinkedIn when it first came out, because again, it was the business card. You went to a conference, you met and started on a new team, and hey, let's connect on LinkedIn, and you didn't know what to do with it. It's like people then realize, oh, if I need a job, I reach out to my network, or if I've if I'm looking to hire somebody, I reach out to my network. But that was as early as 2006, and it definitely has evolved since then.
Oh, absolutely. So we are going to take two case studies. So let's say there is this person who's a corporate professional and is looking to change jobs. So what recommendations would you give them for their profile? And then we'll come to the entrepreneurs.
Sure. Well, first question that I would want to know is, yes, they have a profile. What does that profile share about them? And this is where I use the term, what's your professional brand? What are you communicating on your profile? If you literally have nothing there, then we have to work together to build you up and craft what your profile is, what your brand is. And this includes, photos, banner images, headline, an about section, used to be called the summary, that really shares what your skills and expertise is, what issues you care about, what problems you solve, what opportunities you create. And we make sure you have all the relevant sections in your profile.
So let's say somebody's been laid off and they don't have the money right now to work with an expert like yourself.
Sure.
What would be like essential in that LinkedIn profile so that they have the basics and can get started today?
I'm going to answer your question, Divya, but I'm not going to give you the answer you're expecting. Okay. I'm going to warn you about this. I wouldn't work on my LinkedIn profile first, because you need to have a resume that communicates many of those same items. You have to have a branding paragraph. You have to list the roles that you're interested in, the skills and expertise. You have to list your experience. What was your job and title in your previous role? What were your accomplishments statements, not job duties, but if you were in the Olympics, what were your gold medal accomplishments? Then if you didn't have a LinkedIn profile, I would likely leverage a lot of what's in your resume to get you started on LinkedIn, because we can then we can take care of two very necessary items. Where LinkedIn goes well beyond the resume is I want a good quality profile photo. There's a lot of folks don't have photos out there still. In 2023, on April, 14th, there are people who have some phenomenal jobs, but they don't have a link. They don't have a profile photo, or it's a poor quality photo. They need a banner image, which is wrapped around the photo, which is an opportunity to communicate what your brand is. Maybe your brand talks about your skills and expertise, or maybe there's a quote that just kind of drives you every day. I live by this quote. Then your headline. Many people, if you go to their LinkedIn profile, their headline pulls from their last job experience, which is, here's my title and here's at the company I work for. The goal on LinkedIn for somebody looking for a new opportunity is to have the visitor scroll through your profile. So if you don't have a photo, you don't have a banner, and your headline is pulling from your experience section, you are giving somebody a reason to go somewhere else. So you want to pull them in through your headline, your photo, your banner, to learn more about you in the About section. That's where we're going to leverage the branding paragraph we created in your resume, but we're going to go further and far with the content you put in your About section. And that's going to include your background, your brand, your expertise, the tools you use, the impact you've had on your customers, the work that you've been doing. It's going to also include a call to action. If you would like, I welcome connections on LinkedIn. Please send me a connection request or visit my website. Here it is. Schedule a meeting with me, schedule a podcast with me, give people a call to action of what you want them to do. And then you go into the experience section and the education and making sure your skills and expertise are updated, because those skills, Divya, are keywords. Those
very
keywords.
True, because it's representing, and what you're sharing is the answer I had expected, actually, how it is. You just don't go and jump into your LinkedIn profile. It's about strategy.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right on the mark. And also, what is the purpose of that LinkedIn profile? If you're looking for a job, are you looking in different sectors? Are you looking for just a certain niche? And you talked about it, that skill sets, that those are the keywords. That if you are, let's say, applying for a job in tech world as a data scientist, then you want to have those skill sets highlighted. So what you're sharing really makes a lot of sense. So in your experience, you have helped so many different people up-level their LinkedIn profiles. Have you seen few common mistakes that most people make?
Common mistakes. One mistake that I still see it is the About section has very little in it. Okay. And if the About section maybe has content in it, but there are these very long, dense paragraphs, I get bored very easily. If you are asking me to read a series of long paragraphs, I will be bored and I will go away. I'm going to go somewhere else. So it's important. And I heard this term a long time ago when I was started to watch others coach about LinkedIn. And they use this term, and I love it. It's content to white space ratio. So what you're looking for are ways to break up the content you're sharing on the About section, in the Experience section, so there's short little chunks of information. And Unfortunately, LinkedIn in the About section, you can't format it, but you can copy and paste in bullets. You can use uppercase letters to denote sections. So you want to make that About section, the Experience section, as readable as possible. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other mistake is at the end of that About section, there is no call to action. You've got to give a call to action. And then again, you're going to bring in, even though you're going to add your skills and experience section, you want those words all throughout your profile, perhaps in the headline, especially in the About section, because that's what's going to get picked up by the search engines, the recruiters, the hiring managers. They're searching not just for job titles or experience, they're searching for specific skills.
And we can call them like work keywords. I mean, there are SEO keywords, and then there are work keywords that, for example, going back to data scientist, is that if they're coding a certain language and if they use that, and if somebody's using a bot or something like that, then their LinkedIn profile will show up.
And I would also add further to your point is I might be coming from a company that uses a specific set of keywords for SEO. If you're replying or responding to a job posting from another organization and they use a different set of words, you want to be able to, you're not going to swap out the words just for that job, because unlike a resume, which is going to be customized, but your LinkedIn profile should incorporate in multiple places the variations of what those keywords are to ensure you're being found.
That's very powerful. And like one key point that you brought up is that LinkedIn profile is not your resume. Because resume is where you can provide details, you can customize it for a specific job, versus LinkedIn profile is more of a appetizer if we were to take a look at it that way. Right. What do you think?
But I would also add, do not attach your resume to your LinkedIn profile. And the reason you don't want to do that is the reason you and I have just shared. Your resume is customized to the job that you are pursuing. And you don't want to have multiple iterations or even one iteration of your resume on LinkedIn, because it's possibility it might not be current or be specific enough to what the company is that is looking at you is interested in. So don't make the mistake of, I'm just going to attach my resume onto LinkedIn. Okay? It's not a good idea.
Oh, what a relevant point, because so many people, actually, a few of my clients had done that. And they said, oh my goodness, it was such a big faux pas because their resume had not been updated. And it was downloaded by a recruiter and connected her for a job that was not fit for her.
Right. So, and it's something else, and you might be asking this question, perhaps, is once I have begun to update my resume, so we haven't talked about the entrepreneur yet. When I update my resume, one of the first things you're going to begin to see is you have more visitors to your profile. Okay. Now, I do pay for a premium membership because it makes sense in the work that I do. Others may not. You have to make a business decision. One of the benefits of the premium membership, though, and I don't have the number, the dollar amount right off the bat, but you get to see 90 days worth of the folks that are visiting your profile. And that can be very valuable. So if you are looking for a new opportunity, if you are looking to cultivate in new areas, as you have updated your profile, you've got a lot of great information. You're really highlighting your brand, sharing the keywords for SEO. But one of the things that's going to happen is people are going to start to find you because they're doing searches, and you can see the activity. And that's then a great opportunity to reach back and say, hey, I saw you visited my profile. your work sounds very interesting. Are you up for a virtual coffee?
What a powerful strategy. That take that data and make use of it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for providing all those wonderful tips for people who are looking for jobs. Let's do a little bit of a dive for entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, entrepreneurs could be anyone from coaches, consultants, for that matter, brick and mortar or online entrepreneurs, service providers, entrepreneurs with physical products. Mm-hmm. So from their perspective, what's the strategy and any tips for their LinkedIn profile?
So again, another great question, and you're actually highlighting LinkedIn as more than just a branding statement. I mean, and there's other areas of LinkedIn we haven't really chatted about yet. As an entrepreneur, it's an opportunity for you to highlight who your niche is, who are the folks that you work with, you support. It's an opportunity to talk about the problems that your clients face, and that's something you can incorporate into a headline. And I call those headlines calls to action, which as well. So in a headline, you can have keywords. So, you're a professional development coach, a career coach. I work with, I'm a podcaster, all those keywords about who you are, but then you could share, I specialize in working with, to remove bullying from the workplace. So I work with abrasive leaders or individuals being faced with workplace bullying. Say that, okay? So you share the problems you solve on the headline. You start there in your about section. Again, you have your brand paragraph, but then these are the types of clients that I work with. So I work at the C-level. I work with middle managers. I work with new hires. Here's the work that I help them with. I help them with their branding statements, how to network, how to write LinkedIn profile. These are the tools that I use in my work. And so again, you're just building keywords as well. If you are looking for someone with this expertise, or you're struggling in this area, again, you have a call to action. Here's my email address. Here's my website. Here's my calendar. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so you start to give them a way to connect with you. You fill out the information section on your profile where you put in your web address, your phone number, your email, but you also, again, you want to put it on the about section. So that way you're not forcing somebody to have to look for it. The entrepreneur is going to share content about the work they do and the problems they solve. And this can come in the way of updates to the thread, the daily thread on LinkedIn on the homepage, a status update. You can write an article, a blog about your area of expertise and the problems that you work with. Perhaps talk about some of the use cases and the successes. Again, always giving folks a call to action. If you'd like to learn more, here's my, reach out, and I'd love to chat with you. If you'd like, a presentation inside your company, I'm happy to chat with you. Let's schedule a meeting.
So a lot of people are confused because people don't have time. They may be, you talked about having that status update because that's such a good way of leading with value, showing people what are the problems they're facing, that you're aware of it, you know your audience, and that you have the solution for their issues, for their challenges, and make their lives better. Mm-hmm. So should entrepreneurs be posting every single day, or 3 times is enough, or there is no any particular cadence that's needed because LinkedIn algorithms are changing so often? So how can people stay abreast of it?
My answer is different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the key word is consistency and commitment. 2 words, consistency and commitment. Commit to setting 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes a week that you are either going to network or make connections with folks that you're interested in or you want to learn more about. Commit to that time to, okay, I'm going to find an article that I can share, or perhaps I'm going to write a short piece that I can post myself. So it's about creating your own content, sharing other people's content, reading other people's content, and not just liking it like a Facebook like or an Instagram like, but commenting why that piece was important, but be consistent about it. Okay. One of my, so I've been using LinkedIn for many years. When I first got into podcasting, I don't think we've ever chatted about this. It was actually to solve a problem for my clients using LinkedIn. You know how at the end of a year and going into the new year, we always have, what do you call those? Resolutions.
Yeah.
And so January 1, yes, I want to start writing a blog. By January 31st, you haven't gotten started. And so I kind of brainstorm with my clients, well, why don't we create a podcast? I'll interview you about the topic you know the best, and then we'll write an article for you, and we'll post it on LinkedIn, and we'll also post it on a podcasting platform. And so
They're solving their problems for them.
I was helping them solving the problems on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was all about commitment and consistency.
And that's another piece that if you don't have time and want somebody to support you, then you want to connect with people who are experts. So for example, as Howard has been talking about his expertise and strategy. So it also depends, like either you can get started on your own or you can work with experts like Howard who have walked the road before and know the ins and out.
Sure. There, Divya, there's a couple other points that I think it's important to share with your audience. LinkedIn profile is, above all, the most important thing. You need a good, robust LinkedIn profile that is crafting and is crafted well, and you're sharing your professional brand or personal brand, whatever word you want to use. LinkedIn is also a job board, so you can apply for jobs on LinkedIn. It's also what I actually prefer to call LinkedIn, it's a research tool. I can research for people. I can research for skill sets, for positions. I can research within geographic areas. And the job board is an important facet of that strategy. And then LinkedIn is also a way to grow and nurture your audience through the creation of original content, sharing content, and communicating likes and comments about content, and also sharing that with your network as well. And because that is the way you nurture ultimately on LinkedIn and grow your network, is through the original content and the sharing and commenting on content that you have found.
Yeah, no, those are definitely some tips to kind of keep in mind, that when you have network and when you're nurturing them, and that's where the reciprocity also happens, where you're forming those deep connections and relationships. Right. And then goes back to the 2 words that you used: be consistent and have a commitment for whatever time you want to do. So it's people know that, okay, maybe it's once a week, it's 3 times a week or twice a week. So then you are showing up for yourself and for your clients. Right. So any other strategies come to your mind for you, like, where entrepreneurs can leverage LinkedIn to grow their business?
you're asking great questions, and one that I don't use. However, a colleague of mine uses a lot, and maybe you already do it, Divya, is LinkedIn has gotten on the video bandwagon, and they call it LinkedIn Live. And so you and I literally could have gone on LinkedIn. We could have one of us would have set up a LinkedIn Live account. It used to be rationed out, but I think almost everybody can do it these days. But we could have had an interview on LinkedIn. Okay. And it would have been published in the moment to the LinkedIn community. You could have scheduled an event and posted it prior, saying, hey, come on to my call this Friday. I'm going to be chatting with Howard Fox. So if you are an entrepreneur, because it's geared more towards the entrepreneur space, but maybe, yes, you are looking for a job. Maybe you have a side hustle. Okay. Or you're working in the community, look for an opportunity to share your voice within the community about things that you're passionate about using LinkedIn Live. So if I didn't already have in play a lot of the work that I currently do, and I was looking for a way to share my voice, my point of view, to grow my network, I would be using LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a great way to get your voice out there, because it again goes back that if you're not connecting with your right audience, and if you're not sharing your message with the right audience, then it's just kind of falling flat. Mm-hmm. It's going to go out there. But the key is that audience connecting with you? Are they responding back to you? Are you nurturing your network? Mm-hmm. So those are some very, very powerful techniques. And you have mentioned brand a couple of times. Mm-hmm. So any tips on that, on how people can enhance their brand through LinkedIn?
Well, think about, technically I'm not supposed to share content from the organizations I work with and support, but I think this is an exception. But imagine I'm going into a grocery store and I go down the cereal aisle. What cereal are you going to pick? Why did you pick that cereal? What is it about that cereal that caused you to make the decision to pull that box versus another box? The reason, or you think about the brands that you care most about. We all have, as I move my hand, this is a smartphone. The smartphone has many apps on it. What are your favorite apps? Why did you pick that app? So your brand is moving from the examples I just gave, the cereal and the smartphone, which are product brands, to personal brands. So every one of us is a brand, okay? And that gets to the heart of what it is you're sharing with others about the work that you do. How do you serve the community? How do you ensure you're doing good work? What do you want people to know and say about you? So we can craft our brand, which is our LinkedIn profile. And if we did nothing else, we're not nurturing our brand, and we're giving someone else an opportunity to talk about us. Mm-hmm. So the more we nurture our brand, the more we strengthen our voice and share our voice about the things we are passionate about, then people will know about us through our words, our actions, our deeds, as opposed to making things up about us, which would be hearsay. And so, yeah.
Go ahead, please.
No, I mean, just, if you don't craft your brand and strengthen it, nurture it, grow it, somebody else will do it for you, or they will not, or nobody will do it at all. I mean, when I work with clients, maybe they're not familiar with social media. Okay, maybe they have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. LinkedIn is still, believe it or not, even if there's 850 million members, it's a small the small kid on the block. Okay, because it's geared more for folks in the professional entrepreneurial space. And we have to, get young folks coming on board that don't have a LinkedIn profile, or I created it in college and I haven't done anything with it. You're leaving opportunities on the table. And you can't, in this day and age, things move so fast, you cannot afford to leave something on the table.
Mm-hmm. Definitely makes perfect sense, because here's the thing: if you don't position yourself, others will position you and your brand for you, because people are going to perceive, regardless of where you are walking. Let's say, even if you're walking down and you look at someone, and if somebody doesn't smile, you are going to form an opinion about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, he or she must be having a bad day. And you're such a X, Y, and Z. He can't even smile. So they've already formed an opinion. Now they're going and talking to a neighbor. Oh, did you see that? X, Y, and Z? He never smiles. So how do you want to be seen? How do you want to be perceived is up to you. And as you were sharing, is that positioning yourself from a place of where you want to be seen, and from a place of authenticity and integrity is so critical, especially as you develop your brand and nurture it and continue to nurture your network. Mm-hmm. So Howard, if our audience was looking to connect with you, where would they connect? And how would they find you?
The very best place, well, the two very best places, obviously, is going to be LinkedIn. And I will be honest, Divya, I don't connect with everybody. Mm-hmm. I have a series of things that I look for. One, did you send me a note on LinkedIn why you wanted to connect with me? Now, you got to be careful on your smartphone, because if you click the connect button, it automatically sends it there. But you want to send a note why you want to connect with me. Did you visit my profile? Okay, so if you sent me a note and you visited my profile, I will be very likely to connect with you. Okay. And so it's very easy to connect with folks, even folks that are third degree connections. So you and I are first degree. Your best friend is connected to you. They're my second degree connection. So you still can connect with folks on LinkedIn. My website is foxcoaching.com. There is a contact me URL up there, a form up there. You can indicate your name and email address and why, how can I support you?
Well, thank you for sharing. And do you have any top parting tips for our audience?
One thing that I would do is, if you're not on LinkedIn, especially if, you are an entrepreneur, if you're contemplating a business job change, or you're looking to grow within your organization, then you need to be on LinkedIn, and you need to take many of the steps that we just chatted about today. And look for opportunities to share your point of view. And again, do more than just the comment why you found a piece to be valuable. You can even tag like in an article, so that people who wrote the article know you mentioned them. That's a way to grow your network. And as you were just sharing, look up from the smartphone, whether you're walking down the street, whether you're in a restaurant, at work, in the airport, and you're just, scrolling away. I always wonder how many significant events, activities or the future successes will never, ever happen because I am looking at my smartphone and the opportunity just passed me by. Okay. And so, we want to, there's an urgency, but, look for opportunities to disengage from the technology and look up, smile, craft, still create relationships even out on the street if you can.
Well, thank you, Howard. Such a powerful nuggets. and appreciate that. So
Likewise.
thank you for
Appreciate
joining
it.
us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us, and let us know what is it that you would like from us. How can we serve and support you? How can we provide you value so that you can succeed in your lives? And thank you, Juan, for making the show technically possible. So until next time, be well and take care.
Thank you for being part of Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. We hope you have learned more about how to start living the life you want. Each week on Beyond Confidence, you hear stories of real people who have experienced growth by overcoming their fears and building meaningful relationships. During Beyond Confidence, Divya Parekh shares what happened to her when she stepped out of her comfort zone to work directly with people across the globe. She not only coaches people how to form heart connections, but also transform relationships to mutually beneficial partnerships as they strive to live the life they want. If you are ready to live the life you want and leverage your strengths, learn more at www.divyaparekh.com. And you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. We look forward to you joining us next week.